Hi, everybody. Just kind of setting with you again as we move into my teaching portion. Let's just gather ourselves and find a moment of quiet and stillness, some silence on the. Since I figure out how to do that, and we're going to take a moment of quiet. Yai da da yai da 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 yai 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 lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 Hi, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Again, good morning, everybody. And so in light of the fact that we have Thanksgiving coming up, and this is a time when we are grateful for the blessings of our lives, I thought I would circle back to an important theme in Jewish mindfulness practice, and that is gratitude and blessing. And it's actually very fitting that we are thinking about gratitude and blessing, because in the Parsha we are starting with the story of Jacob and Esau. And it's kind of an ironic story about blessing, because we are all about stealing blessing in the Parsha this week. But what I want to do is take you through the arc of the narrative of the life of Jacob. And by doing that, his life is actually a narrative about coming into the deepest possible understanding of what gratitude and blessing really is. And so if you'll bear with me, I want to just take you through the major points of the story. And then I want to look at his moment of acknowledging what gratitude and blessing really is all about. And so remember the story, he's always struggling with his brother. He fools his father, who is blind, into thinking he is Esau. I'm talking about Jacob. And he steals the blessing of the firstborn because he and his mother, Rebecca, really believe that Isaac doesn't see it, and Jacob is the more worthy son, even though he wasn't born first. And they feel like their only recourse is they have to steal the blessing, right? That's what they really believe. And so in a sense, the story makes you think, well, Jacob must be justified in stealing the blessing because otherwise he's not going to get it. So he steals the blessing. And then the next thing you know, of course, Esau finds out. Esau wants to kill his brother because his brother has stolen from him and cheated him. And then Isaac and Rebekah tell Jacob that he has to run away from home because Esau's going to kill him. And very interestingly, and we're not going to go over the details in the text, but right before Jacob leaves home, his father Isaac blesses him again. And he says, may you get the blessing of Abraham. So he actually gives him the blessing that he thought he just had to steal, interestingly. And that kind of gets glossed over. People don't notice that in the story very well. But he kind of got the blessing anyway from his dad right before he ran away from home. Then he runs away from home. And we know the story that happens next. It's the famous story of Jacob's ladder. Remember that story? He's alone in the desert and he lies down on a stone pillow and he sees a vision of a ladder with the angels going up and down. And from the top of the ladder, the voice of God booms down. And what does the voice of God say? I am God and I'm here for you. I'm going to keep you safe. And not only that, I'm going to bring you back to the land of Israel. And remember that blessing I gave to Abraham? That's going to be your blessing. And your descendants will inherit the land of Israel. So his dad gave him the blessing, and then God gives him the blessing. And how does Jacob respond? Well, in the Torah, Jacob says, well, God, if you really are going to keep me safe, and if I can get back to the land, then you'll be my God. So what does that tell us about Jacob? He doesn't trust very easily. He's very sneaky. And he doesn't believe that he has this blessing. Now we can psychoanalyze Jacob all we want, right? He's born younger. He's always feeling like his brother's getting the better share. He doesn't believe that he really deserves it, whatever it is. You can't get any better than your father giving you the blessing you felt like you should have gotten, and then God giving you the blessing itself to think maybe he should have gotten it by now, but he doesn't. And Jacob, of course, becomes the typology of the ego, right? Our ego will always feel dissatisfied. It doesn't matter how many times we get told by the universe that we are a blessing, that we are these miraculous beings, that we have so much blessing in our lives. The ego will always feel dissatisfied. The ego will always look for proofs of why it's not good enough. Of why it's not enough. Jacob, the name Jacob means heel grabber, literally grasping. He is the typology of the ego that grasps and clings and doesn't have any room for anything else that it clings onto. That's exactly what the ego in our minds do. So Jacob ends up living 21 years in Haran after that Jacob's ladder story. He is enslaved by his uncle in indentured servitude. He finally escapes. He comes home, and what happens as soon as he comes back to the land of Israel? After 21 years, his brother Esau is about to get him. He's coming with an army. Jacob, being forever the pessimist, forever the guy who's miserable, he thinks, oh my God, I'm going to die, and everybody I love is going to get killed by Esau and his armies because he's been wanting to kill me since I stole the blessing. And then he has the famous wrestling with the angel. And the angel, they wrestle all night. The angel says, let me go because the dawn is coming. And Jacob says, being the clinging guy, no, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me, because he doesn't believe he has the blessing. So the angel blesses him again and says, your name will be Yisrael, because you've struggled with divine and human beings and you've prevailed. How many times does this guy have to get the blessing before he realizes he's getting blessed? But somehow that moment is the climax of his struggling, right? That wrestling with the angel, because he comes out of that and he names the place Peniel, meaning the face of God. That somehow he's become not only Jacob the grabber, Jacob the ego, but now he is Yisrael. He is this broader, expansive awareness. Okay, so in Jewish mystical Kabbalistic tradition, we read all of the characters as typologies of spiritual states of mind and spiritual states of being. And Jacob is interesting because he's actually two spiritual states of mind. He is both the clinging, grabbing, mistrustful ego that's always dissatisfied, but he's also Yisrael, the one who can look and see the face of God, even in the struggle. Right? And I want to share just one quick text that represents the next morning when he finally meets his brother Esau. This is the famous conversation. Esau doesn't kill him. They actually embrace and cry. Esau cries and it's like, brother, so good to see you. All of his egoic nightmares never prove true. And then there's this interaction, this famous back and forth, right? I'm gonna fill in the ambiguities here. So Esau asked Jacob, "What do you mean by all this company which I have met?" Jacob answered, "To gain my Lord's favor," meaning your favor, Esau. Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours." So Jacob is offering him these gifts. And Esau says, "No, that's okay. I've got plenty. Don't worry about it." But Jacob said, "No, I pray you, if you would do me this favor, accept from me this gift. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God, and you have received me favorably." So we have Jacob now speaking really as Yisrael, right? Saying, "I'm looking at you, my brother, the one who I thought was going to kill me all these years. What I don't just see you, I see the face of God. It's beautiful." And then Jacob goes on, "Please accept my present which has been brought to you, for God has favored me and I have plenty." And when he urged him, Esau accepted. So you're looking at this typical Middle Eastern kabuki theater back and forth where you offer something and they go, "No, no, 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 of course not." And then, "No, please accept." And then they accept, right? That's very typical. But when you look at, and I've taught this before, but I want to come back to this. When you look carefully at the Hebrew, if it's not a Freudian slip, I think it's a literary device, right? The Hebrew word for gift, when Jacob keeps saying, "Please accept my present, my gift," in the Hebrew, it's kachna et birchati, right? Which means present or gift. But of course, it also means what? Bracha. So suddenly Jacob, the man who his whole life has felt like he has to take the blessing because he's not going to get it, suddenly after wrestling with the angel, he's transformed and he's saying, "Take my blessing." And then he adds this beautiful phrase, "Ki choneni Elohim v'chi yesh li kol," because God has been gracious to me. Yesh li kol. The English translation says, "I have plenty," but that's a terrible translation. Yesh li kol means literally, I have hakol. I have everything. Everything. This is such a beautiful moment. This is one of my top maybe 3 favorite moments in the entire Torah. I taught this, did I teach this in the High Holy Days? I think I might have taught in the High Holy Days. But Jacob, what has he done? Because he's become Yisrael now, he understands, because of his struggles for decades of his life, he finally understands what a bracha means, what it means to have blessing, right? A blessing is not something you have to go out and grab and take from the world that's out there. He realized finally, after all those years, that the blessing is who he is. Blessing is what you are. That's what it means. A bracha is actually what you are. It is your essential nature. You are a blessing. Jacob didn't need to steal the blessing. He and his mother were very confused. They never needed to. And the story shows over and over again, it was always his destiny to be a blessing, and he becomes a signpost for all of us. We live our lives in this grasping and this clinging and this feeling like we don't have something that we need, otherwise we're not complete, we're not whole. Actually, we are whole. We are complete. Yesh li kol. I've got it all. The whole universe belongs to you. It really does. You are the richest woman and richest man in the world. You, right here, right now. Look around the room you're in. If there's a window, look out the window. It's all yours. It's a blessing that's there for you. And you are the blessing because you can see it. You can acknowledge it, and you can live your life in a way where you bring out the blessing of it all. That's what a bracha really means. This is a spiritual life, ladies and gentlemen, right? This is what it means. And I said recently, if you're feeling gratitude, you're getting it right, right? But think about how Jacob got there. He didn't get there by just going, everything is happiness and light, yay, right? He didn't get there by positive affirmations over and over again. He didn't get there by denying the darkness. He got there by embracing the darkness, by struggling with the angel in the night, until he could see that even that is part of the bracha. Even that is the blessing. That's hakol. That's all of it. So real gratitude, real blessing is seeing how everything works together seamlessly. Everything in your life, the good and the bad, all of it is there as part of a wider blessing. And it's up to each and every one of us to figure out how to see it. That's the goal. So I'm going to ask us now to take a couple of minutes. I have another teaching that I want to move into as well. So we're going to do a short sit. And I just want us to engage in our Yisrael, in our capacity to see the bracha in all of it. So allow yourself to sit comfortably but alert, and take a deep breath and release. Let's take another deep breath in and release. And if you feel any tension anywhere in your body, bring your awareness to it. And just as your awareness reaches any place of tension in your muscles, any discomfort, allow just the awareness to be the space within which that tension or that discomfort relaxes. The simple awareness is the invitation to relax and to let go. And as our awareness goes to different parts of our body, and as that relaxation and that letting go happens in our physical being, just allow ourselves to be aware of our bodies, the various sensations that come and go. The pleasant, the neutral, the unpleasant sensations. And I want you to notice how all of the sensations of our body, no matter what they are, they're happening within awareness. They're happening in a wider, spacious awareness. And as we notice that our body is arising in you. You are not just your body, but your whole body is arising in you. Your awareness is greater than your physical presence. And don't believe me, just notice it. And as we're sitting, we might notice there are thoughts that are running through our heads. We might hear our own voice, or a discursive voice narrating or reacting or arguing. Notice where that voice is. It's happening in awareness. And as we notice images or memories of images from the past, or imaginary images of imagined conversations or experiences, or imagining a future, planning for something, worrying about something. And notice how these images of past, present, or future, just like the voices, are happening in a wider awareness. That wider awareness is you. That's who you really, really are. And this body and all of its sensations and all of the workings of the mind and all of the emotions and feelings are happening in you. So what we're doing is we're just resting in the awareness that we are more than all of these things. And what I want to ask you to do now is notice how beautiful it is. This body, mind, heart, these thoughts, these sensations. It's beautiful. Even the unpleasant sensations, even the unpleasant thoughts. You see, when you realize that you're the awareness within which all of these phenomena arise, none of them define you. So in their own way, they are giving you the whole world. They're giving you your story of you. And that's a beautiful thing. The good, yeah, and the bad. The health and the sickness. It's all arising in you. And what you are is an untouchable, unsullied, pure, clear, unceasing awareness. And so let's just take a couple of minutes and remember that we are the awareness more than any of these things. And let us just sit and lovingly and with awe and with gratitude appreciate this body, mind, heart, this being with your name on it that's arising in this awareness with such gratitude. Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Okay, everybody, take a nice deep breath. And I just want to pause now. If anyone has any reflections or questions that you wanted to ask about the teaching or the practice we just did, or any thoughts that you want to share at all, anybody?
I thought your analysis of the Jacob story was really brilliant. I've tended to study this in pieces, so I missed the arc of the 3 or 4 different attempts at getting a blessing. So
Yeah.
Thank you. That was really brilliant.
Because it's broken up over several parshiot, and I find that frustrating too. Because like the whole point is that it's a great story, you know. They're all great stories, and so the literary arc of the story is so important to see how it works. So yeah, I'm happy to share that, and this is such a great opportunity and a great forum to share that in. Yeah, Judy, you had to unmute yourself.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you for the reminder that even the things that hurt are part of the way that we find our way back. I think this week especially, I needed that reminder that it's not just the good things, but it's the things that you want to push away, that you have to bring close, because it's part of where we're going.
Yeah, and you know, it's so hard to do, isn't it? It's just so hard, and that's why this practice is actually so important, right? Because when you learn to, it's not actually detaching. It's just being your more deeper, broader, loving self, where you can be the container of these difficult things that arise, right? And you realize you're more than that, so that you can see that they're part of the blessing, right? And that's, so I'm really glad that worked for you for today, and hopefully it works for all of us when we think about how we're using this practice to frame our experience. It's such an important part of it. Anyone else?
If I can add one more comment, I think what Judy said about finding our way back. I mean, as I've been reading more and more about meditation, that's actually the important part. Yes, your mind is going to wander, but how do you bring it back?
Yeah. I mean, the irony of this practice, and we'll continue to work with this, is that who you really, really are doesn't wander, right? The part of us that we're normally identified with is always wandering, and it's always going all over the place. But your real essence, which is this awareness, which is connected to the divine, is a constant, unwavering light, and that never goes out, that never wanes, and that's what the whole trick of the mature part of our journey. If you think about the arc of our lives, when we're kids, when we're young adults, you know, we're caught up in things. We reach a certain point in our lives when we begin to be able to become aware of this deeper light of awareness that was always there all along, but we couldn't see it yet. And some people get this when they're younger, but I see this as part of the life journey, is getting to this place. And that's the story of Jacob. He has to go through his life journey to get there. Okay, I want to, if there isn't, I see there's a note coming on from Patty. Oh, with a smile and humor, my mind went to Dorothy's red slippers, always with us too, because of who we are, and grateful for what has always been with it. Absolutely. That's a wonderful metaphor. I love it. That works great. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again because I want to talk about specifically a bracha, right? And get us into some practical stuff, because a bracha is a mindfulness meditation, and it's supposed to, the way, if we're doing it right, every time you say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, it gets you to this whole conversation that we're having. And in order to get there, I want to show you a very famous line in the Torah. Move my boxes here. So this is the Birkat Kohanim, the famous priestly blessing, right? Speak to Aaron and his sons, and thus you shall say to the people of Israel, say to them, the Lord bless you and protect you. The Lord enlighten his face to you and deal kindly with you. The Lord lift up his face upon you and grant you peace. I want to point out some very specific things in the Hebrew that are very, very important and powerful, specifically in light of what we just read in the story of Jacob. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Okay, first of all, that's the word Adonai is the name of God. Adonai is also the name. I mean, in the last meditation, I kept talking about this awareness that you really, really are, that light that is unwavering. That is Adonai. That is Adonai. That's ultimate feeling of I am. That is Adonai. That's God. So Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may that awareness be a blessing and may it be a protection. That's just what I was talking with you about, Judy, right? That even in the trouble, right? When we cultivate that Adonai consciousness, then you see that it can't define you, it can't overwhelm you, right? And that's Yishmerecha, and keep you safe, because the infinite safety of being who you really are is beyond the turbulence of life's vicissitudes. Okay, let's keep going. So Ya'er is light, right? The light of Adonai Panav. So the awareness and the face. Remember what Jacob said to Esau? To see your face is to see the face of God. And here it is, Panav, the face of God, right? Vichuneka. So the light, may you be, the word chen, be gracious to you. Is that how they translate it? Deal kindly with you. Chen is grace. Now they talk about grace a lot in Christianity, but it's actually from Judaism. A moment of grace is a moment of awakening. It's the moment of, oh my gosh, I am not just this small self. I'm not this little being trapped inside a body, a bag of bones and meat. I am this awareness, which is much more than that. Every time you awaken to that, that's a moment of chen, of awakening, right? So the light of Adonai Panav, the face of God, it can awaken you moment to moment. It's just a question of noticing it. And you're there. Here's another way of saying it. May God lift up God's face to you, right? There's the face of God, and in that it'll give you shalom, peace. To realize you are this awareness that is greater than your body or your feelings or even your mind. That is the ultimate shalom. Okay, so this is it seems complicated, but it's really very simple, but it's also very difficult to get there. And that's what the practice is. It's a simple awareness itself is what we mean when we say Adonai. Okay, Now, I want to I want to bring something in from the Zen tradition. Since we are talking meditation, they have a lot here. This is a famous Zen koan. A koan is a puzzle, a mental puzzle. When you're not thinking of anything good and anything bad at that moment, what is your original face? That's a very famous Zen expression, the original face. What did your face look like before your parents were born? That's a Zen puzzle, a koan. What did your face look like before your parents were born? So that makes you go, wait, what? Huh? But I'm teaching us this Huangpo koan here because Adonai Panav, the face of God, is your original face. Okay, it is the face of your being that was neither born and will never die, neither born nor dies. It is simply the awareness. And the you, that is this body, that is this mind, that is this heart, is one of the things that come and go in that awareness. And it's infinitely precious to God, meaning your ultimate I amness, your awareness. It's infinitely precious. But your original face is the face of God. That's what we call it in Judaism. In Zen, they just call it your original face. In Judaism, we call it Adonai. The Pnei Adonai, the face of God. I'm saying a lot of intense stuff, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask a question while we go through it. So I just cut and pasted from, this is just an excerpt from a prayer book. Okay, I just want us to look at Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Okay, because this, it's a mantra, right? It's a Jewish mantra that we say, and it's to get us to this awareness. Okay. Baruch. Baruch, well, there's the word blessing in it, bracha, right? But it's an inward turning. It's Baruch, blessed within, within you, within me, within each of us. Baruch, Ata Adonai. So we call God you or thou, right? But it's really your ultimate identity. It is your true self. It's your awareness. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. The name Elohim is another name of God. And that is the one that is manifest as many. So this one awareness manifests as many things. Even when our eyes are closed, we can see the many things in our feelings, our bodily sensations, our thoughts. That's Elohim. That is God manifesting as many different things. And when we open our eyes, look around the room, look at all the things you see, tables and chairs and pictures and windows and trees. That's Elohim. It's manifesting as many, many different things. But it's all Adonai. It's all the face of God, which is pure, simple awareness, which also comes up as forms, which come and go. It's all one thing. Baruch Atah Adonai. Within me is blessed this divinity, which is beyond my ken, and yet it is my deepest self, arising as me in the many different dimensions of what I am, arising as this world simultaneously. I'm not separate. I'm not a little being who's cut off from the world, alone in a universe that's unfriendly. Actually, the whole universe is me. The Yesh Li Kol, that's what Jacob was saying. I'm arising as the whole thing. It's all in this awareness. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Okay.
So can I ask a question? So this is beautiful. I mean, it takes this non-duality, meaning that God is within us, and sort of flips it to we are within God.
Yeah, and it's even more than that. And what God is and what you really, really, really are the same thing. It's pretty radical, folks. But, it doesn't mean you walk around and think, hey, I'm God, everybody, so you better watch out. That's not what this means, right? That's just there's only one self of the whole cosmos and beyond. And you're an echo of that. You're just a little ripple of that in the stream of things that are arising within the one self, the one I am. That's what so like, next time you're in shul and you're we go through it really fast. Don't let the fact that I or Sally or anybody else or any of the leaders are davening quickly to take you away from be with the Baruch Atah Adonai. By the way, Atah means you, but once you get to the realm of the infinite and the ultimate, you, I, it's all the same thing. Right? It's all one. That's the secret. That's the sod of Judaism. That's what Kabbalah is here trying to teach us, right? That's why you have to be over 40 years old, because this is trippy stuff, right? But this awareness is it. So people say, where's God? God is more intimately present. In fact, what is it, Rumi, who said it's the breath within the breath? It's the I within the I. It's literally I am. In our confusion, our ego thinks that this little brain and these thoughts and this little story of me is the fullness of I am, but it's not. This is the big secret of it all. And it's beautiful. At first, it might seem a little scary, right? To think, well, then I'm not, what am I then? Am I nothing compared to this God? Actually, it's wonderful news. It's a big relief. On the other side of life and death, there is I am. The most intimate sense of who you are never went anywhere, and it's never going anywhere. That's what it means. Questions? Some of you are like, I don't even know what the heck to ask.
So I have a question or a statement a little. I'm still struggling with Jacob, because he's a bit of a thief, and that disturbs me.
Yeah.
I may never say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob quite the same way again. But what do we do about the bad people in the world? If God is part of us, we're part of God, I am. What about evil? And I mean, that's my struggle. I remember when I was a very little girl, I asked my mother, like, how did God let Hitler happen, and how did, and she gave me a good explanation. But I still struggle with it many years later. Where does evil fit in this?
Mm-hmm. So this practice is it's a completely different way of framing that question. Okay. In this moment, you go by Roberta or Bobby or
Roberta.
Roberta. In this moment, Roberta, just in this moment, look around. Is there evil?
No. Not with us. I don't, to the best of my knowledge.
Moment.
Out in the world, yes. But right now, no.
Okay. Now this, I am not, I promise you, I completely understand what you're asking, and I'm still going to ask the following question.
Okay.
Can you absolutely know there's evil out there in the world somewhere right now in this moment? Can you absolutely know that?
Okay, no.
Okay.
I can't.
So in this moment, what are you? You are this I am, and what's arising in the I am. I see there's this beautiful view of trees outside the window behind you. There's this beautiful place where you are, wherever that is. That is the entire universe. There is nothing else. There's this little screen in front of you with these little faces talking. There's the sound of some guy's voice coming out of the computer. That's the entire universe right now. Now, I'm not denying everything you're saying. I promise you, I hear you. But that's a thought that comes and goes like all other thoughts. The thought Hitler comes up. The thought all the horrible people who are doing horrible things in the world comes up. It comes and it goes. Doesn't mean it's not true. But those thoughts keep us trapped in an ego. That's Jacob clinging. That's Jacob saying, I don't have no blessing. There's no blessing here. If you keep me safe, then maybe you'll be my God. In other words, if you can prove to me that there's no more Hitlers in the world, then I'll be in this spacious state where I'll be able to see it. Right? So, there are infinite numbers of proofs in the world that this is a horrible, lonely, isolating universe. I'm with you 100% in that. But there are also an infinite and more proofs that this is a friendly universe. That this is actually all the divine arising in this moment. And all of it is a bracha. I know there was a Holocaust. I know that there's justice to be struggled for, even if it means risking our lives for the sake of justice. I'm with you on that. And I'm saying this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just because we can come up with the proofs of why we're isolated beings in a terrifying universe, it doesn't mean that it's ultimately true. And this is the practice of cultivating the awareness of what might be ultimately true. And so let's identify where is the Jacob and where is the Yisrael, right? And this is cultivating the Yisrael. Jacob is always going to be there clinging. And just like the Torah, he goes back and forth, even after he gets his name changed. He's also called Jacob a lot because it's human to get caught up in yes, but. Yes, okay, it's all very pretty and lots of blessings, but there's Hitlers and there's, Donald Trumps and all kinds of horrible people out there in the world that are doing scary things. Yes. And Choneni Elohim v'chi yesh lichol. And yes, this is the face of God, all of it. Jacob looked into the face of his enemy, Roberta. He looked right into the face of Esau, his most dreaded enemy, and said, to see your face is to see the face of God. That's how enlightened he was in that moment. He could see even the face of God in the face of his mortal enemy. That's a tall order for you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're talking about. That's what we're cultivating here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to sit for another couple of minutes, and then we'll take some more questions or whatever at the end. Okay, everybody take a nice deep breath in and release. Nice deep breath in and release. Okay, we're going to jump right into this practice now, okay? We're going to say Baruch. Oh, not out loud, just in our heads. Baruch Ata Adonai. Baruch, the blessing of Adonai is in us, is in the awareness itself. Baruch Ata Adonai. The thing that we conventionally think is outside of us is actually our most deep, most intimate self. Baruch Ata Adonai. Allow the awareness to be present of all the Eloheinu melech haolam, of all of the many different multiplicity of thoughts and feelings that are happening here. Some of us may have physical discomforts, or we might be feeling really good. Some of us, our minds are thinking, what the heck was he just talking about? That's okay. Don't push that away either. Just notice the confusion or the uncertainty. Notice the sense of being balanced or imbalanced that we are bringing to this moment. All of that's happening within you. All of it. And so you don't have to push anything away. Thoughts of how could there be such beautiful teachings in a world with so much evil? That's a thought also happening just within this undisturbed, pure stillness. That is your awareness. That is the face of God, your original face. Emotions, feelings of satisfaction or complacency, feelings of worry or fear, anger or doubt or depression or joy, all of those emotions, they're all happening in a much more infinitely expansive spaciousness that is you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Many, many forms that arise. It is all you. I'm going to ask something unusual now. If your eyes are closed, I want you to open them, but we're still meditating. Now gently allow your eyes to take in the entire visual field. All of this is happening within you too. The entirety of the room that you're in and everything beyond it is arising in you in the same way that thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sensations are arising within you. You can allow your eyes to close again. It's a seamless arising of Elohim within Adonai. And that is the bracha. To make a blessing, to say a bracha, is to start from this awareness. And then you are the blessing. The words are just bringing you to that truth. And then every word that issues out of your lips after you come to that truth and every action you take is the blessing manifesting in this life. So we'll take the next couple of minutes, just 2 minutes, because I want to give us time. So just 2 minutes, just being in wonder of your own original face that shines its light on all of this beautiful arising of the good and the bad. of the joyful thoughts and the worried thoughts, of the feelings that are pleasant and unpleasant, and of all over this body. What a bracha it is. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Okay. Well, in the 2 minutes we have left, anybody have any other reflections or questions? Patty.
I just want to say thank you. This was so beautiful. I feel like I could sit with all this and do this all day. This was so special. So thank you.
It's truly my pleasure. This feeds me too to be able to teach this. So I feel very grateful that I have the opportunity. Speaking of gratitude.
Exactly. Thank you.
Just the same thing. I feel so much calmer now. Thank you. I'm grateful.
That's actually Baruch Hashem. That's what it means. You know, bless the name. You know, bless the Yod Hey Vav Hey. Right? We go into that blessing. Be the blessing.
One of the lovely things, even though you get tired of Zoom, nobody's masked, so you can see the smiles again. And I miss that so much. I miss the fact that I can see people actually smiling at me.
It is. It's actually really beautiful. I love this. What do they call it? Gallery mode. You can see the Shena Punim, the face of God.
Faces of God.
Faces of God. Elohim. The many faces of God. You're looking at it. Absolutely.
I don't know. I still have trouble. You know, you say there's the face of God in everyone. I still have trouble seeing the face of God. Maybe it's very, very small in people like Adolf Hitler or Osama bin Laden or even Donald Trump. You know, I just have trouble seeing that face of God in those people. It's such, you know.
It's hard. It's hard, David. Start with us. Just start with
you
us.
guys, it's easy.
Yeah, well,
Truly, you got to adjust your
somewhere.
camera. I keep seeing just the top of your head.
Start with the easy thing. Look in the mirror. Start there. That's an important place to start.
Well, I know I'm not evil, but I got lots of faults.
Well, but that's really what you're looking at. You're looking at the face of God.
Join the human race. Join the human race.
Don't make us see the problem is like, don't do that to the point where you go up, then you cut yourself off from the whole practice. Right? We can always go to Hitler, right? So that's easy because that it can cut it off. That's that's the Jacob thing, right? That's the proof that it's not true. That's why you want to keep coming back to this and finding the opportunity to find the face of God in all of humanity. That's the practice.
That's also, I think, part of your Yetzer Hara, trying to push you away from doing what will ultimately help you.
Right. Yetzer Hara is another name for ego. It's another name for the ego. It's the same thing.
Perhaps God is not in evil people, and that's why they're evil. But
Yeah.
Well, I think they're deeply, deeply cut off from that face of God. I agree with that. They can't see it, and they can't see it in themselves or anyone else in the world. I think that's what evil people are. They can't find it, they can't see it, and they're not looking either. Not looking for
That
it.
helps.
But it's our job to be the ones who find it, even if they can't. And that's the challenge. And I'll leave you with that, folks. Have a wonderful, God willing, I'll see most of you in Shul this Shabbos. And if I don't, happy Thanksgiving. And wish you lots of bracha and lots of gratitude, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.
Shabbat shalom.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Hello.
So long.
Be well. Bye-bye.